crap. I mean, jeez. Ah! Oh, my God. Wow. 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 Hell of a game, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles are on to the NFC Title Game. And the best part about it, we are hosting in Philadelphia the Washington Commanders. So they have to come to us. But wow, what a game we just saw at Lincoln Financial Field. I mean, damn. Damn. Listen, the Rams are a good football team, guys. Like, they are a good football team over there. Matt Stafford, I've said it in past episodes. I said it last episode. Top 5 quarterback. He just is. The man threw for 300 yards in this game. I mean, holy sheesh, man. I'm pulling up the stats right now in this game. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 97 rating. Kyren Williams had 100 yards on the ground. You know, I mean, it was a spectacular performance by Matt Stafford, and it was expected by Matt Stafford to go ahead and play the way he did. Philadelphia, however, just was the more talented team. They were the more physical team. They were the tougher team in the end. The offensive line and the running game just ended up taking over at some point. And then the defense, making key stops in a drive where you had to get a stop. You needed to force pressure. You needed the sack. Jalen Carter comes up and makes the biggest play of the drive. And Zach Baun, once again, had a terrific day. Wow. Jalen Carter today was the best player on the Eagles defense. Forcing the fumble, sack fumble, forced the fumble from Kyren Williams, and then got the sack on the last drive. Game-changing plays. That's exactly what Eagle fans look for in a special player like Jalen Carter. They came out ready to play. And Saquon Barkley on the offensive side of the ball. What can you say about this dude? The most unstoppable football player in the NFL right now. You know it's coming. You know what we're trying to do. And you could sell out to try to stop it. And he'll bust your ass for a 75-yard touchdown. There is no words to describe what he has meant to this Eagles football team this year. Without him, we don't make the playoffs. There is no way you're in position that you are right now without that guy. And we're going to kind of break this whole thing down in just a moment. But this is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi. I'm an elated Eagles fan right now. And let's just get into it, guys. Like I said, this defense for the Eagles, just when we need plays, it makes plays. Listen, I will say this about this game. The Rams kind of gave a snippet of what you can do to neutralize the Philadelphia Eagles defenders. This scheme, the pass rush, the whole defense in general. He threw for 300 yards in this game, and the Rams had 100-something-odd yards rushing, okay? If you're the Commanders and you're looking at this tape, you're noticing quick throws, 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and let the Eagles try to make tackles. Make them try to tackle you. Get them to creep up, and then you hit them over the middle. And it's quick decisions. He's not sitting back there holding it for 3-4 seconds either. Because that's the difference between some quarterbacks and some of these long developing plays. Which is why, I guess this is in hindsight, but I set up a new light here, guys. So forgive me. I have a whole new setup with the light above me. It's probably going to fall. Screw it. I'm just going to take it down. It ain't going to do much here. But, I mean, like, this Eagles defense, it has a problem when it comes to stopping the quick passing game. Because you have to force them to get out of their zones quickly because they're dropping back every time. And then all of a sudden, you have to make plays with these great offensive players in the NFL today. Now, the Rams' skill guys, I think, are better outside of McLaurin than the Commanders' skill guys in terms of getting yardage after the catch. Right? Zach Ertz is more of a stationary target. Olamide Zaccheaus, he's a good football player, but he's not somebody that is Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp. Austin Eckler is a great player. Kyren Williams, I think, is better. And Brian Robinson is not necessarily known to make a guy shake. He's more known as the power guy. And then you got Terry McLaurin, who we saw against Detroit can make guys miss, could take a screen pass and take it to the house, right? So the Rams gave you a little bit of a snippet of what this Eagles defense is vulnerable to. But in the end, great players make great plays. And that's when Jalen Carter, Zach Baun, and Darius Slay come into play. I thought they played really good football today, and they were the reasons that game was, finished, end of story. On the offensive side of things, Saquon Barkley, like we already mentioned, most unstoppable player in football right now. You know what's coming. You know where he's going to be. You know what we're trying to do. You can't stop it. He ran for 205 yards today, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts also had a rushing touchdown today. He had, a 44-yard touchdown? He had 70 yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts had 128 through the air. No interceptions, no touchdowns, 15 for 20. People are going to be critical of his play. Now, I didn't think he played great. I didn't also think he played terrible. Like, a lot of the sacks that Philadelphia sustained today was due to, a lot of great stunts by the Rams up front. They really did a good job of forcing Jalen Hurts to stay in the pocket, and then they just beat some of these Eagles offensive linemen. Like, say what you want about the Rams. They know how to get sacks. They know how to get home. Jared Verse, hell of a game for him. He came in talking smack, and he backed it the hell up. He came in with 2 sacks, had really, really big impact plays, and he was ready for the smoke. And you got to give him credit. He's a player that I thought Philadelphia would have loved to have taken in the first round if we didn't get Quinyon Mitchell. I love Jared Verse coming out of college, but he's a hell of a football player. The Rams got a bright future, and they got one hell of a quarterback and coach over there because that game was too close to comfort, and it's all because they know how to win these types of games, and they were very close to winning this game. But the offense, again, just very rudimentary, which is okay. I actually don't mind that it's rudimentary at times. Got really cute in the play calling, especially on that last drive. We all know what we're talking about here. It's third down, Jalen Hurts, second down in the fourth quarter, 4-minute drill. You just need to drain clock. You drop back, you do the fake handoff, play action, and you roll out left. Not even right. You roll out left, and the Rams were not fooled at all. Got him down for a sack, and now people are going to kill, like I said, Jalen Hurts for some of these sacks. Some of them were his fault. Some of them were not. I know he's banged up and he was hurt in this game, and the weather played a factor in all of that. And sometimes you got to help your quarterback with the play calling. And Kellen Moore today got really cute with some of his play calls. And I know last week it worked when you were in a pinch and you needed a play, and they rolled out left and tried to get Smitty on the big drag route or Goddard on the flat. But in that situation, you got to drain clock. You got to drain as much clock as you can. You were getting 8 yards a clip in the ground game. You got to run the ball and let them try to sell out against the run. Let them do it, because both of the touchdowns that they had on the ground game with Saquon Barkley, they sold out against the run. They played single high. He made a guy miss, and then you only got one guy down the field who's going to try to make a tackle. And at that point, you got Mailata, you got Jurgens, you got Dickerson in front going in for blocks. So it's not like they were going to be able to stop it at a clip. If they got the stop, they were losing clock. And then you would have been in a similar situation anyway. But you can't take a sack in that situation. You can't call that play in that situation. And the Philadelphia Eagles on that last drive got the stop they needed, and they escaped with a win. But boy, oh boy, if you're the Commanders, you're looking at this game and you're saying, wow, there's a lot of holes in this team, especially on defense, that we can exploit. The quick passing game, getting them to play laterally, and making sure that you get an effective run game going. Because that's the key against this Eagles defense. If you can run the ball and force these linebackers to play honest, they're second-level defense in terms of coverage. They're not going to be able to stop those intermediate passes over the middle, right? Because the linebackers have to trust, or the linebackers have to play the run. Like, that's what you have to do in the NFL. You can't just run up and down the field on everybody, unless you're Philadelphia, that is, right? But that's what makes the Eagles' offense so explosive, is that no matter how much you stack the box, they run the ball. And they run it effectively. And the game changed when the weather changed. It slowed down the pass rush for both teams. It made the game mucky, made the game yucky, disgusting, whatever you wanted to call it. Ugly, ugly game in the second half. And the team that not only played the best defense, but executed best in terms of taking care of the ball, draining the clock, making plays when you need to, won the game. And I swear, I thought the game was over when Saquon Barkley broke that second 70-yard touchdown. I thought the game was over at the 4-minute mark there. And I'm like, geez, all we need to do is get a first down and we're winning this game. And then obviously the rollout left with Jalen Hurts and all that. So very, very cute play call. And we'll get more into that later on this week, as I'm sure. But right now, this is just the instant reaction to this game. And lastly, let's talk about A.J. Brown, because I know that's going to be a topic of discussion. He had a rough game today. He had a couple drops. I think he was targeted like 7-8 times today. He had 1 or 2 catches. One of them was big on a third down to get the first, and it moved the chain. So you got to tip your cap there. Great players make great plays when you need them to be great. The big drop down the field. I thought Jalen Hurts threw a perfect football to A.J. Brown in the first half there. And people are killing Jalen Hurts for not getting that touchdown. You got to catch that football for A.J. Brown. Like, you just have to. I thought Jalen Hurts threw the ball today pretty well. I thought he played pretty good today, besides some of the sacks. But I'm not going to kill Jalen Hurts for this performance. A.J. Brown, I'm not going to kill either, because it looks like he's playing with an injury that is pretty significant. He doesn't look the same running his routes. He doesn't look explosive. He doesn't look like he has burst. I think he's playing with something, and he's toughing it out, and you got to give him credit for that. And you see it in the play calling, too. Like, you don't see a lot of play calls for A.J. Brown. Against the Packers, against Philadelphia. We saw a couple weeks ago he had an injury in practice, and the knee's been swelling up during the game. And you could tell just something isn't right with A.J. Brown. Unless it's a slant, like a 5-yard slant or a quick out or a hitch, they're not throwing him the football too much in those situations outside of the big go ball in the first half. And I think he's just laboring a little bit. And I'm hoping that if you play Washington and you win, that the week off for the Super Bowl is going to help him. And in the Super Bowl, he'll be ready to go. But all that being said, I will not kill A.J. Brown this week. Again, he looks like he's hurt. That's the war of attrition in the NFL, especially in the playoffs. That's going to happen. You got to deal with it. And the Philadelphia Eagles dealt it better than most teams in the NFL. They've been pretty much healthy throughout. And whatever they do in their program with Nick Sirianni and their practice schedules and the workload, they're able to tough it out and make it through seasons mostly unscathed. So you got to give them credit. That's something we can all give Sirianni credit for. He knows how to run a program where guys just don't get hurt. And once again, we're in the conference title game. Second time in 3 years. And we're against a division rival who's going to give us everything we can handle. Like, this is not going to be an easy game against the Washington Commanders. They're playing with house money. They played with house money yesterday against Detroit. And they went out and dropped a 40-burger on them. Oh, by the way, Detroit fans, you're devastated right now, because that is a talented football team over there. And you may lose both coordinators with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And Philadelphia Eagle fans know that more than any other fan base in the National Football League. And if they go on to be great head coaches or really good head coaches, you're going to look at a window of an opportunity that you had the past 2 years and wonder what could have been. And then it's going to be reliant on Dan Campbell. And is that culture really, really set over there? And who's going to be the OC? And who's going to be the DC in Detroit? Unless those two guys decide to stay back another year. But that's me digressing. Washington versus Philadelphia is the next matchup at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a hellacious atmosphere. It's going to be the toughest game you've had all year thus far. Like, we thought the Rams were going to be a tough game, and we thought the Rams were really good, and they were. They gave us everything we could handle. Washington's better. Like, Washington Commanders are a better football team because they got a quarterback who's a star, and they got a coach who's been there and done that. He's been to a Super Bowl before. He's coached really, really well in that game. Yeah, he blundered a 28-3 lead, but you know what? Sometimes that just happens. We've seen it happen before. Dan Quinn knows what he's doing. The Washington Commanders have talent on both sides of the ball. They got the quarterback of the defense in Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luvu, who knows how to lay the wood on people. Pause. And resume. It's going to be a really, really interesting game. I'm excited for it. I know when we were in Washington last time when Jalen Hurts got hurt, we felt that we could have beaten that team with Hurts in the lineup, and I think so too. However, Hurts got hurt in this game, ironically. His knee looked banged up. He didn't look the same moving around. And now you have to think about, hey, how does this change the way we call this game? How does it change the approach the Commanders have in this game? Because you take the mobility factor out of Jalen Hurts, all of a sudden, you have to have a drop-back passing offense. And all year, that's not what Philadelphia has done, I know, but it limits you what you do on the offensive side of the ball now if you're Philadelphia. And the Commander fans are looking, Commanders are watching the Eagles, and they're saying, okay, blood's in the water here. We've seen what the Rams did against this defense, and we know their offense right now is hobbled. We just got to go out there and make enough plays. So this is going to be one hell of a game. I'm excited for it. You're excited for it. We're all excited for it. The Philadelphia Eagles are in the NFC title game, and the biggest factor of all, it's in Philadelphia. We get to host that son of a bitch. Holy crap. I'm excited. By hook or by crook, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you do in the playoffs. We got the W. No matter how ugly it looks, you're on to the next round. And that is what Jalen Hurts' mindset and this team's mindset's been all year. I'm going to quote my cliche quarterback. Keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to win the game. We keep doing that. Before you know it, we're going to be playing in New Orleans. But you know what? Can't think about that right now because you got the Commanders in your house. They're not going to make it easy. We got to go out there and take care of business. But right now, fly Eagles fly, baby. Go Birds. Hey. Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles Podcast.